In the darkest depths of the galaxy, far from the eyes of most civilizations, the alien Empress held her vast empire tightly under control. Her rule was absolute, her power feared, and her influence stretched across countless star systems. For centuries, her spies had reported back to her stories of humanity, a species they believed to be weak, disorganized, and confined to a small, forgotten corner of space that posed no threat. The Empress dismissed humanity as insignificant, a mere curiosity that would never rise to challenge her empire. Yet beneath the surface of Earth, hidden from all outsiders and cloaked by advanced stealth technologies, secret shipyards had been working tirelessly. These shipyards, protected by the planet's magnetic fields and layered with defenses, were creating something no one expected: an armada of 3,000 warships, each crafted with a perfect balance of human creativity and alien technology scavenged from ancient battlefields. The ships were sleek, powerful, and equipped with weaponry that combined the best of both worlds: human adaptability and alien efficiency. For years, this fleet remained hidden, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Then, without warning, scouts from the Empress's empire detected the fleet as it slipped quietly from its hiding place. A wave of shock and disbelief rippled through the Imperial command. The Empress herself felt a cold anger burn within her chest. The primitive humans she had once mocked were no longer the weaklings she imagined. They were preparing to show the galaxy their true power. As news of the hidden armada spread throughout her empire, fear and curiosity mixed like a dangerous storm. Many in the empire began to question their long-held beliefs about humanity. Whispers of the humans' secret strength traveled from distant planets to Imperial warships, sparking rumors of a new force rising. Some leaders feared that this revelation could upset the delicate balance of power that the Empress had maintained for so long. Others saw an opportunity for change, hoping that humanity's unexpected return could break the cycle of oppression that had dominated the galaxy for centuries. Meanwhile, humanity's leaders watched the galaxy carefully, knowing that revealing their fleet was a risk that could invite war. But their goal was not conquest. It was survival and respect. They wanted to make it clear that humanity would no longer be ignored or underestimated. Instead, they sought a future where humans stood as equals among the stars, leaders and protectors in a galaxy filled with both wonder and danger. The Armada, once a secret, was now a symbol of hope for many oppressed worlds, a sign that a new era was beginning. As the ships aligned and prepared to move beyond their hidden sanctuaries, the galaxy held its breath, unsure if the coming days would bring war or a chance for peace forged by a species long thought weak, but now revealed to be powerful and unstoppable. The alien Empress, furious and challenged for the first time in centuries, began to prepare for a confrontation that would test everything she knew about power, loyalty, and the future of the galaxy itself. The human fleet, vast and formidable, slipped through the dark expanse of space toward a star system long controlled by the alien Empress's forces, a place where smaller, weaker alien species lived under harsh rule and constant fear. These worlds had suffered in silence for generations, their voices crushed beneath the weight of imperial power. But now, as the 3,000 human warships approached, hope flickered in the hearts of those oppressed. Leading this grand armada was Admiral Alexei Kane, a man known for his sharp mind and calm decisiveness in the face of danger. His orders were clear: show strength, but avoid needless bloodshed. The mission was not to start a war, but to send a powerful message. Humanity was back, strong and willing to defend those who could not defend themselves. Instead of an all-out assault, the fleet executed a precise and calculated strike against a heavily fortified military outpost that had long served as a symbol of imperial tyranny in the system. The attack was swift and effective, disabling the HFY outpost's defenses without destroying the surrounding cities or innocent lives. It was a warning shot, a demonstration of power laced with restraint. The fleet's laser beams and missiles cut through the cold vacuum with deadly accuracy, but no more than necessary. The humans wanted the galaxy to understand that they demanded respect, not conquest, and they would stand as protectors for the helpless. The Empress, watching from her throne world, was struck by a fierce and burning rage. The precision and Restraint shown by the humans only added insult to injury. She saw it as weakness masked as mercy, and called it a challenge to her authority. Furious and humiliated, she summoned her commanders with harsh orders. Crush the human threat at any cost, show no mercy, and remind the galaxy who ruled the stars. Yet not everyone in her court shared her fiery anger. Some high-ranking advisors and generals whispered concerns that the Empress's fury might cloud her judgment. They feared that her desire for swift revenge ignored the real danger. Humanity was building alliances with the oppressed, weaving together a web of unity that threatened to unravel the Empire's control. These advisors saw that the humans' unexpected return could inspire hope and courage, where there had only been fear before. Across the star system, the once silent voices of the smaller species began to stir. Secret meetings took place in hidden caves and on remote moons as representatives of different worlds considered an alliance with humanity. The galaxy, usually calm and indifferent, now buzzed with tension and uncertainty. On distant outposts and space stations, soldiers and citizens alike watched the skies, wondering what the future held. Would this warning shot lead to a devastating war, or was it the first step toward a new era of cooperation and freedom? Admiral Alexei Kane understood the weight of his responsibility. Every move his fleet made was watched closely by friends and enemies alike. He knew the Empress's anger would soon bring retaliation, but he also believed that humanity's courage and determination could inspire change. The Armada held steady, ready for whatever came next, standing not just as a force of war, but as a symbol of hope. The warning shot had been fired, and the galaxy was forever changed. In the silent stretches of space, the distant stars seemed to burn brighter as if watching this new chapter unfold. A chapter where humanity, once dismissed as weak, now dared to challenge an empire, risking everything to protect the innocent, and claim their rightful place among the stars. As the uneasy silence of space thickened with tension, the galaxy began to shift beneath invisible currents of power and suspicion. The Empress's fury had sparked not only open defiance, but a complex web of secret alliances spun quietly in shadowed corners of star systems. Some alien factions, long crushed beneath the weight of the Empress's harsh and unforgiving rule, saw in humanity not an enemy, but a beacon of hope. These factions, hidden in deep space, away from prying eyes, started to send covert messages offering aid to the human fleet, sharing intelligence about Imperial movements and weaknesses. They saw in Alexei Kane and his armada a chance for freedom from centuries of oppression, a new future that promised equality and respect among the stars. Yet within the ranks of humanity itself, cracks began to appear. Not all believed that the path to peace lay through confrontation. Some feared that the warning shot had already escalated tensions too far, that war might bring destruction, rather than the justice and safety they sought. These dissenters whispered doubts and concerns in private quarters, worried that their noble cause might be twisted into a devastating conflict no one could win. Amid this fragile and growing discord, Alexei found himself facing an even more dangerous enemy than the Empress's forces: betrayal within his own fleet. Reports of sabotage, secret messages intercepted, and unexplained failures on critical systems hinted at traitors hidden among his trusted officers and crew. With each passing day, the risk grew that these traitors could unravel the Armada's strength from the inside, destroying everything humanity had worked so hard to build. Time became Alexei's enemy as he raced to uncover the conspirators, needing to act quickly without destroying the fragile trust and morale that held his diverse crew together. His leadership was tested not only in battle strategy, but in his ability to inspire loyalty and unity among those who depended on him. Meanwhile, far away on her throne world, the alien Empress faced a crisis of her own. As her rage fueled plans for revenge, whispers of dissent rose among her subjects. Some began to question her stubborn aggression and unyielding desire for total control. They feared that her refusal to consider diplomacy or compromise might doom the empire she had spent her life building. The court was divided between those who urged patience and caution, and others who demanded swift, brutal retaliation. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath, caught between the looming threat of all-out war and the fragile hope for peace. Every alliance forged in secret, every decision made in hidden chambers, brought the galaxy closer to a turning point. Would the spark that lit this fire lead to destruction or renewal? In the darkness of space, with shadows moving and secrets unraveling, Alexei Kane stood as a beacon of resolve. His mission was no longer just about ships and weapons. It was about trust, loyalty, and the future of countless worlds. As he looked to the stars, he knew the coming days would decide not only the fate of humanity, but the destiny of the galaxy itself, balanced precariously between war and peace. The dense asteroid field near the heart of the Empress's core systems became the stage for a battle that would decide the fate of the galaxy. The darkness of space was shattered by brilliant flashes as lasers and missiles streaked through the void, striking rocks and ships alike. Though humanity's warships were smaller and less heavily armed than the massive Imperial vessels, their true strength lay in their speed, agility, and the clever tactics devised by Admiral Alexei Kane. The fleet darted between towering asteroids, using the terrain like a shield and weapon combined. Every maneuver was precise, every strike calculated. The Empress's Imperial fleet, vast and imposing, pressed hard, relying on overwhelming firepower and sheer numbers. But Alexei's leadership shone brightest under pressure. His calm commands and quick decisions inspired his crews to fight with fierce courage and unmatched cleverness. Ships that seemed doomed found openings, outflanked their opponents, and struck where the enemy was weakest. The roar of battle echoed through command decks as the clash grew fiercer. The Empress herself took command aboard her flagship, a colossal dreadnought bristling with weapons and shields. Her presence brought ruthless precision and fierce determination to the fight, pushing her commanders to relentless aggression. She would not allow humanity's defiance to stand. Her will was absolute. The battle turned chaotic and brutal as ships from both sides were destroyed, debris drifting like deadly shrapnel through the asteroid maze. Amid the carnage, heroes emerged from the smoke and fire. Pilots who risked everything to save their comrades, engineers who kept crippled vessels alive, and soldiers who held the line against overwhelming odds. Each victory fueled the fighting spirit of the humans and their alien allies, who found new courage in the face of a seemingly unstoppable foe. Alexei's voice, steady and inspiring over comms, reminded every crew that this battle was about more than survival. It was about proving humanity's right to stand among the stars, not as victims or servants, but as equals and protectors. As the battle raged on, it became clear that technology alone would not win this fight. It was the unyielding spirit of those fighting, the trust between allies, and the willingness to sacrifice that tipped the scales. The Empress, watching the tide slowly shift against her, realized that underestimating humanity had been her greatest mistake. This battle was not just about ships and weapons, but about the future of all who called the galaxy home. When the dust finally began to settle, the battlefield was scarred, but the message was clear. Humanity had survived the impossible, and their allies stood ready to rebuild a new order from the ashes of war. The stars, once silent witnesses, now seemed to blaze with the promise of a new era forged by courage, unity, and the relentless hope of those who dared to fight for freedom. The defeat of the alien Empress marked not only the end of a brutal conflict but the beginning of a new chapter for the galaxy, one filled with fragile hope and cautious optimism. The once feared fleet of 3,000 human warships, which had sparked fear and anger in the hearts of the Empress's forces, now stood as shining symbols of change and possibility. Worlds long oppressed by tyranny looked toward humanity with newfound admiration and inspiration, daring to dream of freedom and cooperation instead of fear and submission. Alexei Kane, hailed as a hero and visionary, worked tirelessly alongside his diverse allies to transform the fragile peace into something lasting and just. The coalition they began to build was founded on trust, respect, and a shared desire to break the chains that had bound so many species for centuries. Meetings were held in grand halls on distant planets, where leaders from countless worlds gathered to forge alliances and write the first chapters of a galactic alliance unlike any before. It was not an easy task. Old wounds and deep mistrust had to be healed, and many struggled to see beyond the shadows of the past. Yet Alexei's calm wisdom and unshakable faith in unity inspired hope, even in the darkest hearts. Meanwhile, the Empress, stripped of her power and forced to confront a new reality, watched from her once mighty throne as her vast empire began to shift and change. Her rule, once absolute and unquestioned, was now challenged not just by humanity but by the very subjects she had sought to control. The future she had imagined was slipping away, replaced by a galaxy that no longer bowed to fear but looked to courage and cooperation as the path forward. From the observation deck of the flagship, Alexei stood silently, gazing out at the stars that stretched endlessly before him. Each distant sun seemed to shine brighter now, not just as points of light in the darkness but as beacons of hope and new beginnings. He understood the road ahead would be long and difficult. Peace was never simple, and old rivalries could still flare into conflict. But for the first time, humanity's courage, creativity, and compassion were not just tools of survival but the very foundation upon which a new future would be built. The galaxy, once divided and ruled by fear, now held the promise of unity and strength in diversity. As Alexei looked to the horizon, he felt the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of possibility. The dawn of a new era had arrived, one where humanity and its allies would stand side by side to face whatever challenges the stars might bring, shining as a guiding light for all who dreamed of freedom, justice, and peace. The journey was far from over, but the spark had been lit, and in that spark burned the hope of countless worlds ready to embrace a future shaped by the bold and the brave.